So when you stop and think about, we out there marching. I knew I was going to die, but I went anyway. I went anyway. I never thought I'd see the day I would throw my .357 Magnum away. I never thought I'd see the day I could sit here and say, I'd rather be killed by somebody than kill somebody. I learned that from the movement. Not Harvard, Yale, not white businessmen, from humble black folks who found something that they believed in. And so we marched. And so this state trooper, who they thought was white, told him, they say, tomorrow at 12 noon, when they get to such and such a street, we got the local cops going to block the white press so they can't go across that street. And 3 blocks down there, it'll be about 300 or 400 Klansmen that's going to kill them. Now, I know that. So he was telling me to tell King and them that. Man, I went up and went to sleep. So the next day, we marching, and I know we all going to die. I'm the only one that know that. So we marching, and then we get to that street, and I see them cops blocking off the press. And then 2 blocks, I see these rednecks with their pickaxes, their pitchforks, their guns. I keep marching. I keep marching. I see these old black women just keep marching and humming. And then they came across the street. And I'm ready to die. I'm ready to die. And something funny happened. These white men looked like they had just saw a ghost. Their face changed. They dropped their guns. Hear me. They dropped their pickaxes. And they moved back across the street. And for the first time, I realized something. That what they saw, because there was no hatred, no bitterness, no revenge, they saw the Spirit of God coming out of us, and scared them. That's what we had. That's what we had. The Spirit of God coming out of us. I didn't know anything about it. I just knew what was going to happen, and I was right there with them to die. And so consequently, when you stop and see that movement, and white folks, I don't expect them to be thankful, because you have to have manners to be thankful. But the best thing ever happened for white folks was our civil rights movement, because every time they passed legislation, it didn't say for Negroes only. You hear me?
Disabilities and everything else.
Didn't say for Negroes only.
Yeah, all kind of stuff covered.
Now, let's go to the airport. Before this movement, a white woman couldn't fly a plane. A white woman couldn't be a mechanic at the airport. A white woman couldn't even take my job. She couldn't be a bellcat. In order for a white woman to be a stewardess, she had to look like something out the center page of Playboy magazine. Now you go to the airport today and see an old, fat, short, ugly white steward. We got her that job. Not her brother, not her daddy, not her mama, not the United States military. We got her that job. A white woman couldn't be a cop stopped before our movement. Now you got women, black and white, heads up police department. Now listen to this, man, to show you how this, out of all the women's penitentiaries in America before this movement, all of them had men wardens. Can you imagine what went on in them jails on the weekend? When the good old white boys decide they're gonna have some fun? There's not one woman's penitentiary in America today that's not run by a woman, and some men's penitentiary is run. So we sit around and talk all this craziness. Hear priests ripping off little boys, and been doing it for 400 years, and yet and still, oh, we just let that go by, let that go by, let that go by.
They put it on the church, on the window, what they're doing with the murals they have.
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah. And so consequently, what's beginning to happen now is the beauty. See, we talk about money. Here's no, to show you America. One of their heroes, John McCain. John McCain was sentenced by a military court to be shot to death by a firing squad, and Nixon rescinded it. Wow. Okay? What did he do? In Vietnam, he told on everybody. Everybody. Here's what would happen. He's on an aircraft carrier. The planes would take off and go to Hanoi. Okay? They was looking for him, but instead of going to Hanoi, they would take a short left, go 300 miles that way, cut back right and come in behind him. John McCain told them, and when John McCain told them, American pilots' death rate increased 67% every day. That's this stuff. But he can come back here in the free of the press and land of the home of the brave, and represent and talk stuff and crazy stuff. When they was asking for President Obama's birth certificate. Now remember, these wasn't Klansmen. These was powerful white businessmen. So Obama finally said, okay, I never understand that. If you say you paid Sears and Roebuck the money, and you got the receipt, but I'm not going to show it, then you won't give in and show it. Huh? So the woman that headed the health unit, she's the one that took care of birth certificates. So he told her to release it. December 2013, she was killed. She's on a plane with 8 men that crashed. None of the men died. When we look at her autopsy, she had no water in her lungs, no bruises on her face. Huh? In America. Huh? These folks talking about Jesus and God and all of that, huh? But scared. Huh? Scared. And so consequently, when you stop and think about, how can white folks make me ashamed of something God made? God made nappy hair, not Sears and Roebuck. That universal God that built everything gave me nappy hair. And I'm so ungodly and so unspiritual because a bunch of heathen white folks, I change it. Huh? I change it. You hear me? Huh? Look, black women is 6% of America's population. 98% of fibroid tumors, black women, and the next highest amount is Jewish women. What they got in common? Nappy hair. Huh? Okay. My mama ain't knew nothing about no fibroids. My grandmother, when did fibroids come? When we started using perms and putting all them chemicals on our hair to change something God made. Huh? Because a bunch of heathen white folks told me, you know, that your hair don't look right.
Right.
That's it. And so when you stop and think about what we violated under false pretense of God. Go ahead, Mason.
Amazing grace.
Amazing grace.
How sweet the sound.
How sweet the sound. And thank you for forgiving.
A wretch like me.
A wretch. My mama don't even know what the word wretch means. It's the lowest thing on the planet. And she's sitting there. Now let's change it and say it wasn't a man, it was a prostitute that killed her Johns, her tricks. And she repented. And she wrote the song. And my mama sitting there singing, Amazing Grace, I say, thank you for giving a hoe like me. Mom, you never been a hoe. Huh? But we don't understand that. Huh? You hear me? We don't understand that. And see, one of the great things about Obama is we've been lying to our children and telling them, behave yourself, get a good education, stay out of trouble. You couldn't get a better education than he had. Huh? He went to day school, one of the fine minds on the planet. Went to day school. And they treat him like he was a third-grade murderer. Huh?
Yeah.
Uneducated heathen on death row. So one thing, if we get anything out of that, is stop lying to our children, because President Obama proved it ain't got nothing to do with your education. It ain't got nothing to do but you staying out of trouble. Look at the way they treat him. Huh? And so somewhere, I'm just glad this new group is coming through today and see things and feel things. Huh? Feel it. Okay? And so consequently, when I used to hear my mom and them say, oh, she just grieving herself to death. Now that's the spirit. Do you know more people die every day in America from grief?
Yeah.
Huh? Wait a minute, let me back it up. More people in America die every day from lung cancer, from grief, than smoking cigarettes. Huh? You hear me? Grief is a violation. Well, let me give you an example. What was the guy who played Superman? Huh? Chris Reed? You remember when he died? 18 months later, his wife died, and she said from lung cancer, well, she never smoked. Grief. Huh? Grief. And so when you stop and think about where this is going, somewhere you look at this picture here. This is Ferguson. This is Brown. He's coming out of the tobacco store. If you look at his feet, he got on flip-flops and short pants. 15 minutes later, he laying there on the ground dead with long pants and Nike tennis. What God you think you listening to? It's right here. Huh? Put it right in your face, and you don't see it. Huh? You go back to Trayvon. Now hear this. They said he was in.
That's not it. That's the
He was no. He said he was in Sanford, staying with his father for 2 weeks. He said what he was looking at was the All-Star game that night. That's basketball All-Star game. They say during the halftime, he went to the store and he bought some Skittles and some Arizona iced tea. He came back home, and that's when the incident happened. Well, you know how tricky folk can be. I did my own research. When did he die? 7/17, the All-Star game didn't start at 8 o'clock, halftime wasn't until 9:20. Huh? What's this about?
What's going on?
I know this, the New York Times don't know it. I know this, the New York Times don't know it. Come on, New York Times. Huh?
I have a quick question.
But wait a minute, let me just say this. And so, see, I never believed he was killed there.
Right.
You know why? The one thing, if you lived in a gated community and we was doing this show at your house,
Right.
you have to let the people know we got some people coming by. Here's the call. Why? Because the one thing about living, there's a camera that takes pictures of everybody coming in. How come we ain't never seen a picture of him going out the gate to the store and coming back in? How come we haven't seen Zimmerman? Huh? You hear me?
Right.
So that's why I'm saying it didn't happen there. It happened someplace else. And they brought the game.
And I know I heard you mention, you know, in the beginning, it's going to, you know, it's police that's going to take this country down that know when things are homicide, they call it a suicide.
Well, there's two things. There's two things.
So
I have 10 children. When I hear my children cry, they telling me something. When I say shut up, that's the same thing as the cops telling us to shut up. You pay for that. Either the baby will die because it had pneumonia or something was wrong. And so that's where this whole thing is going. If you look at the movie Frankenstein, you see where it's going. I'm laying over there in Africa, minding my business, dead. White boy come over there and steal me. Huh? Bring me over here. They took Frankenstein out of the grave, brought him into the mad scientist, and my shame of me, please forgive me, God, I was stupid enough to be scared of the monster and not of the mad scientist. America have dogged me and made me what I am, but they're not scared of the monster. And so one day old Frankie jumped up, hit the table. See, later when I got some sense, I started seeing the mad scientist say, go, Igor. And he said, no, go. So he was going out there killing them women for the scientists. He brought them back to the lab. Huh? And so consequently, the whole piece now is turning around. And you go back to King, when he just talks about love. Love. I knew him. I look at black folks now that take their children to Disneyland to see a rat, but never been to King's grave, and had he not died, you wouldn't be welcome. Huh? You see what I'm saying? Black folks. Huh? If he had not died. And so again, as we look at things that happened here, the miracles. This was the Washington Post. Now, this is talking about Baltimore. Washington Post, front page. The Nazis didn't have a paper as bad as this. Huh? Front page. Because we are so ungodly, we didn't know that wasn't our children. Huh? If you say the high school children was battling, how come I didn't see no girls? Huh?
Right.
How come I didn't see no girls? The school gets out, you see that shopping mall?
Yeah, you know, CVS and everything.
Every morning at 8 o'clock, 5 days a week, 50 buses come and drop those students off there. That's where the bus drops them. At 3 o'clock, the bus pick them up. Somebody let them schools out at 2 o'clock, okay, and didn't tell the bus driver. So they out there an hour by themselves. And nobody's saying, where did the bricks come from? Are you telling me them little black children is standing there, the cops got the same type of armor on the snipers use in war, and you gonna tell me my child threw bricks at them and broke their bones, and we black folks sit by and listen to that crap, huh? Break their bones with all that stuff they had on. So I'm asking a simple question, What did you feed my children for lunch?
During school.
During school. To make them come out there and go crazy and fight. I got children, man. Ain't no child normal gonna walk out and throw bricks at a guy with a gun. Now ask yourself this. 3 days that went on, not one shot was fired by the police or the rioters. Wait a minute, something ain't right. Now I want you to hear this. Something happened in a little village outside of Paris in the early 50s. People just went crazy. They started jumping off mountains. They thought there was birds and planes. Then they found out, and read that loud so my grandmother can hear you at home. Now listen to this.
All right, French village went insane after CIA spiked his bread.
Wait, slow up.
French village went insane after CIA spiked his bread with LSD.
Way back then, they went to France, outside of Paris, and went in and took the wheat and spiked it with LSD to make them go crazy immediately. So that's why I asked, what did you give those children for lunch? Huh? I know if they've been doing this back in the 50s, what do you think now? And then last week, front page of the Washington Post. Front page of the Washington Post. What's that say?
Secret flights.
No, loud so they can. Secret flights.
Secret flights over site of rioting.
Over site of rioting. And they had drones. They had helicopters. They had, and then they go on to say it was the CIA and the FBI with the mind control machines, the same thing they used